Good morning. We are very pleased to have the Prime Minister of the Republic of Iceland with us this morning. We're going to start with a statement from the Secretary General, and then he'll turn over to the Prime Minister.
Prime Minister Frostadóttir, dear Kristrún, welcome to this building, to NATO headquarters. It is really a pleasure to see you. Iceland is one of NATO's 12 founding members. And for 76 years now, you have helped protect our peace, our security, and our core values: democracy, freedom, and the rule of law. Despite not having armed forces, Iceland continues to make important contributions to our shared security. You operate vital air defense and surveillance systems as part of NATO's integrated air and missile defense. You provide host nation support and critical infrastructure for NATO forces, including for our regular air policing missions. And you regularly host major exercises, such as Dynamic Mongoose, NATO's premier anti-submarine warfare exercise. I want to commend Iceland's contributions to NATO's deterrence and defense, not only on the northern flank, but also in the Baltic region, where you contribute experts to our forward land forces. Since 2016, you have significantly increased your defense-related spending, doubled your personnel in NATO structures, and taken important steps to strengthen defense tasks at home. Iceland plays a unique and essential role in the High North, which is an area of increasing strategic importance. Your geostrategic location, situational awareness, and operational expertise are vital to our collective understanding of the changing security landscape in the region. I welcome your government's timely decision to develop a new security and defense policy. This will further reinforce our resilience and readiness. Today, the Prime Minister and I discuss preparations for the NATO summit in The Hague. This will be an important moment to drive forward NATO's efforts to become stronger, fairer, and more lethal. We need to increase investment, strengthen defense industry, and enhance our ability to deter and defend across all domains. We also discussed Russia's ongoing war of aggression against Ukraine. Iceland is a staunch supporter of Ukraine, from training military personnel and supporting demining efforts to humanitarian support and weapons procurement. You have provided a mobile field hospital, funded the humanitarian initiative Grain from Ukraine, and recently committed to increase your defense support to Ukraine with an additional 14.4 million euros. You also contribute personnel to NATO's security assistance and training mission in Wiesbaden. This is making a real difference, and I thank you for your contributions. Russia remains the most significant and direct threat to our security. I know that Iceland has a proud tradition as a peaceful nation, and that makes your contributions all the more meaningful. Because to preserve peace, we need to shift to a wartime mindset. That's why I value having a committed transatlanticist like you, dear Kristrún, at the helm. Your leadership sends a strong signal of commitment, and it strengthens our alliance. Dear Kristrún, thank you again for your visit and for Iceland's enduring commitment to our alliance. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. I'm very happy to be able to come here. This is my first visit to NATO as Prime Minister of Iceland. And this is a very important meeting for us, both in the run-up to the big meeting at The Hague, but also just to strengthen and continue to strengthen our relationship with NATO. We have a new government since end of December, and it's important that we get the message across that this government is very supportive of our presence as in NATO. We are very supportive and head-on when it comes to continuing transatlantic relations. Iceland is obviously geographically both in Europe but also in North America. We have tight-knit relations with the EU through our EEA agreement and through NATO presence, but also with the US through a bilateral defense agreement. So that's why always when I meet with EU leaders, when I meet with global leaders, when I met with Mark today, we talk about the importance of this transatlantic unity. And this will always be our message message. It's also very important for us to hear, for me to hear, for the general public in Iceland, and also just NATO members as a whole, to hear that there's an understanding of Iceland's position. Yes, we are a country without a military, but that doesn't mean we don't have strong defenses and a role to play in NATO. We came in as a founding member with certain strengths, our strategic position, our facilities. We do our very best to be a strong ally. And like you said, we are conducting and creating, for the first time, a new security and defense policy where we're focusing on our specific strategic position in NATO. We're willing to spend more when it comes to defense-related investments, to strengthen our facilities when it comes to Keflavik Air Base, when it comes to ports, when it comes to general host nation support, and also very good and constructive talks on Arctic security. We're aware of our position in the north. This is obviously our home. It's not just a conceptualized idea, it's where we live. Russia's aggression towards Ukraine is something that is relevant to us, even though it's far away, because if they win on the eastern flank, they might move their views towards the north, which is where we live. So this is also our fight. That's why we've been contributing well to Ukraine. And when I took over as Prime Minister, our government and our foreign minister put special emphasis on Ukraine to go above and beyond when it comes to our NATO commitments. And we're very happy that you're aware of that, but we need to do more. I hear that the preparations for the Hague Summit are going well. I think it will go well. I am very positive towards it, and I want to thank you for all the hard work you've done on planning it. And we will remain fully committed to our transatlantic relationship and to NATO. Thank you.
Thank you. Kristru. Great.
Thank you.
All right, and now we have time for some questions. We'll start here. Gentleman with the beard.
Thank you, Björn Malmquist from Icelandic National Broadcasting Service. As Secretary General, you have embraced the notion of allies spending 5% of GDP on security and defense, with 3.5 going towards direct military spending and 1.5 towards related things such as security-related infrastructure. Iceland has obviously not been included when there's talk of military spending, obviously because we have no military. But how do you see Iceland responding to the call for other investments, the 1.5% of GDP, and Prime Minister, does Iceland have plans in this regards to increase spending according to these proposals that will surely be discussed at the summit in The Hague next month?
Yeah, what I'm clearly hearing from Iceland, and also in my meetings today, is the willingness to increase defense-related spending. So within the context you rightly described of Iceland's position, there is clearly that willingness to invest more in the defense-related spending. And as I said, Iceland plays a very important role when it comes to our collective deterrence and defense, because all the stuff Iceland is doing, I'm not going to repeat what I said in my introductory remarks, but it's all there. And I think as an alliance, we highly value Iceland's contribution. And when it comes to the High North, the Arctic, of course, Iceland is one of the 7 NATO allies in the High North, in the Arctic. The only other one is Russia. So 8 countries, 7 of them in NATO, and Iceland playing an increasingly important role also there.
Yes, I mean, we've had these discussions in the government. There's not going to be a structural shift as to how we spend our money. It makes more sense for us to continue to strengthen what we're already good at, which is defense-related investment and spending. Being a good ally when it comes to providing facilities for other NATO countries. We do want to step up. There is willingness within the government to do that. We are looking at the 1.5%, as you mentioned, when it comes to that type of investment. But we have also been seeing funds going into direct defense-related spending, and that will be increasing. But our biggest feat is going to be on the related spending and related investment. We have been running an air defense system. We're supporting air policing. Like Mark said, when it comes to the Arctic, this is a place where we have to step up. This is our area. We need to have skin in the game when it comes to the Arctic and have an opinion on that, not that just being run by others. So I see a lot of possibilities coming out of that as well, even though we're in a situation where this is also also run a bit from a threat position, there's still possibilities for buildup in Iceland as well. So this is something we're looking into. We will have concrete points going into the Hague Summit, and then also going forward in our spending reviews.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Good morning, Anders Børingbo in Norwegian Broadcasting. You have been discussing the High North and Arctic. So my question goes on Greenland. So, Secretary General, what's your view on Donald Trump wishing to take over Greenland?
Well, I was visiting Norway, as you know, last Thursday on the invitation of the Prime Minister and the Defense Minister, Foreign Minister. We had a wonderful day, but also it was also very illustrative for me to understand better the whole situation in the Arctic. And what you see now is that these 7 countries, this is including the US and Canada, and of course Iceland and Norway and Finland and Sweden and Denmark through Greenland, they're all working more and more collectively together, and they have asked collectively for NATO to get gradually more involved. For example, when it comes to getting ourselves organized, when it comes to, for example, intelligence gathering, etc. So I think that is very positive. And what President Trump has said about the Arctic, also in general, the issue of Russia and China becoming more and more involved there, building up their defense systems, the fact that the sea lanes are opening up now, the point he made about, a very practical point he made about icebreakers. We do not have enough icebreaker capacity within NATO, potentially, so we have to look into that. So for NATO getting more involved, the 7 countries really working together, having asked NATO to be also a sort of platform of gathering and coming together, etc. So I think that's very positive.
Can I just comment real quickly on this? I mean, aside from the obvious point, which you have to respect international law, and international law also, you have to abide by it in the High North as well. And this is a conversation that us that live in the North need to tell people about. There are rules and laws in the High North as well. I do think with that discussion, or with this focus that came from the US president, there is a focus now on security in the High North and security in the Arctic. And it has made us all think, because nations in the Arctic have wanted to keep this as a low tension area. And, you know, in a perfect world, it would continue to be a low-tension area. But we need to do more on security. We are aware of that. That has to do with Denmark. It has to do with Greenland directly. It has to do with Iceland. It has to do with Canada. And that's why we're increasingly having more dialogue, conversations about what more we can do. So we're also stepping up as a result. And so there is a silver lining in all this discussion, even though the message from Iceland is obviously clear: respect international law. The future of Greenland is with Greenlanders. This has put more focus on security in the North, and that is a positive thing as well.
All right. Thank you all so much for joining us, and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.